Welcome back, y'all. I want to show you how I take my Bible journaling notes and hopefully even give you guys some inspiration for how you can come up with some note ideas or some doodle ideas. I do love to draw in my Bible as well. And I do want to say that I used to be somebody who was not really into writing in my Bible or highlighting, and I have found that when I finally began to start doing it, I actually really enjoyed it. It is something really special just to see like my walk with God, my transformation on the pages. Do you know what I mean? And it's just something really good to kind of reflect back to. I really truly enjoy my journaling time. I look forward to it every day. I can't get enough of it. I started end of June, early July, and yeah, I've really love it, and I would highly encourage anyone else who's trying to go closer to God, understand His Word in a deeper way, to maybe consider doing a journaling Bible. Alright, so I wasn't sure the best way to show you this, but I thought maybe I could just flip through some of my pages and kind of show you like what I do. Like I said, I love any kind of opportunity to draw. You don't have to though. If you're not artistic or you don't really want to draw pictures, you don't have to. I just personally love doing it. I actually highlight a lot of stuff in my Bible. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, do what you like. I personally just love highlighting. What I'm doing is I'm underlining things that are like super, super important to me and highlighting the stuff that really just stands out to me. The things that I want to take notes about. So one of the things that you'll see is a lot of times, like if this little blue section here, I wrote a note about it over here. So you can kind of figure out, where my notes are according to that. Some of it's a little messy because like I said, some of this was like from when I first started, so I'm getting better at it. But I'll take you some of my newer pages as well. They're a little bit cleaner. I am also somebody who likes to write on every single page. I know there's plenty of people who, may have tons of pages like this and then some that are mostly blank or just have a few highlighted pieces. And that's perfectly fine too. For me, it reminds me of like where I've been. And one of the things that I'll do if I can't think of anything really to say to something, I will just summarize what I have read. So I'll put it in more simpler terms. I am using a KJV Bible. Use whatever you like. This is just my favorite. And so a lot of times if it's something that I've like taken some time to kind of understand, I'll just summarize what I wrote really quickly, simply, so it's easier for me to reference. So when I'm flipping through pages trying to find a specific verse or passage that I can't remember where it's at, it's easy for me to reference to my quick notes, like, oh, this was about this was about that, and then I just keep going forward. So some of the things that I will do in my Bible is, like I said, I'll summarize things, I'll draw pictures, I will also make lists. So, if it gives me a section that says, David's sons, in Jerusalem, well, then I'll list them out. So like you see here, the apostles, I have them listed out. I will also do like cross-reference notes. So if there's like a specific passage that this is reminding me of, I'll make a reference to it so when I'm reading this section again, I remember to go back to something else that was similar. Sometimes I'll write something about that there. And you can pause or take screenshots if you'd like. And I have started a playlist with flip throughs of each book of the Bible that I've completed. I haven't uploaded all of them yet, but I'm going to put more up where there's just flip throughs of my notes so that you can like screenshot them or, copy them if you'd like to. A lot of things I'll do also is take like commentary notes and sermon notes. So like when I'm at church, my pastor's talking about something, or I'm listening to some kind of commentary or podcast or something, or I'm watching a sermon online, I will, hear something and it'll stand out to me. So what I'll do is I'll get one of these little scrap pieces of paper, these little scrapbook paper, and I've just cut them to like various random sizes. And I actually have a little bag that has all different size papers in it already, so I could just pick whatever size that I'm looking for or that I think I need. And then I also got this wonderful idea from this lady on TikTok, and I cannot remember her name, but I'll try to. And she had this like scrapbook paper made envelope that she taped or glued into her Bible for scrap paper, which is perfect because like when I'm at church or something or I'm on the go, I already have several different papers of just various sizes that I can just grab one of these out take my notes for that week and then, washi tape it into my Bible like this. Yeah, I don't really overthink it anymore. Some of the things that I'll also do with my notes, I probably should have a better system for like what pages and stuff I'm showing you guys, but maybe I'll just like a flip through. Like I said, I'll take those commentary notes, study notes. Sometimes if there's a word that stands out to me, maybe I'm seeing it a lot, or I'm not sure fully what it means, or I want a deeper understanding of a certain word, then I'll look up, the Hebrew word for it, or I'll look up the definition of something and I'll add that in there. Sometimes I'll just sticky note that somewhere, so that way I can kind of flip back on it. I'll also put in some things for like how I'm going to apply something to my life, or how I plan to apply it, or how we should apply it to our lives. So like if I'm reading over something about, how to be a good friend to someone, and the value of being honest, I'll make notes for, how this is going to be applicable to my life, or, how I need to apply it to my life, how it benefits me or others. And I'll write themes and like moral of a certain passage. So if there's like a passage where they're talking, about good character, I'll talk about why this is so important. Sorry, that was my little kids. But yeah, I've kind of stopped doing like the little flip up things, because I was using these on like these harder papers, and I have found a tip that I can give you is that these thinner papers are much better for that kind of thing. I do like a bulky Bible, and I am really excited at how thick this Bible has gotten, and I want it to get fuller, but I also don't want it to be a point where like it's gonna ruin like the binding of the Bible or something. But yeah, so like here's some of my sermon notes from church. He was talking about Zacharias means God has remembered. Elizabeth means God is my oath. So together it means God remembers his oath, and God promised to give them a son, and he did. And it just says God keeps his promises. I like to write sometimes just certain verses that really stand out to me. So when I open the Bible, it's the first thing that I see. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. That's something I want to remember. I want to think about it every time I flip to this page. Some other verses that our pastor mentioned to kind of reference to and think about in his sermon, and I have notes here for that and other little references. I like to highlight the verses that I'm going to reference to. I like to also write in here like questions that I have about the Bible that I can come back to. And a lot of times when I do that, I like to do it like on a sticky note. That way I can remove it or add to it, or sometimes like you'll see like in here, you'll see like there'll be a question at the top, and then I'll have written the answer when I finally have it underneath. I've started getting more into like circling also, and highlight and underlining, because I wasn't really big on that when I started either, but now I've also really found that I enjoy that. But yeah, I'll write my questions for God. I will emphasize or underline things that just really stand out to me that I really want to remember. I love to draw in here. I find that really fun. Here's that paper. And I'm like 70% of the way through Bible journaling this Bible, and this is my first Bible journaling Bible. But yeah, you'll see here, like, it just says description of the upper chambers, or just because I know what that is, and like when I'm flipping, like, oh, those are descriptions, that's descriptions. I'm looking for something specific. I can just pass that easier. Some people will leave those kind of things blank. I like having something that reminds me that I did that page, I did read that passage, and I know what it's about really quickly. Description of the North Gate. Bam. Okay, I'm out of there. That's not what I'm looking for. Keep going. It just makes it a lot easier for me to find stuff. If there are certain themes that really reoccur, like I said, I'll reference back to, another book of the Bible where I read something similar or reminded me of another story somewhere. I write my prayers in here. I write prayers, things that I'm struggling with, things that I'm dealing with in my personal life, or how, when I read this certain passage or verse, how it impacted me, because it felt like God was speaking directly to me in that moment. A lot of cross-reference verses and things like that. Yeah, I think, when I start my next Bible, I'm not going to be using these really thick pieces of paper. Maybe like in the cover or something, but they definitely are just too big and too bulky for these pages. I might change some of these notes out later with like some thinner pieces of paper. But I really enjoy the Bible journaling, writing stuff down, emphasizing things that are really important, or what they meant to me at that time, things that I'm struggling with, things that I want to overcome, how I want to start applying these things to my life, how the word has changed me, how this passage I keep coming back to, what it means to me. Sometimes, like, if I just do like a quick clarifier, like here when I was reading Job, light was referencing to life, darkness, death. So that was something I just want to, so when I go back in to read it again, I already know that first in my mind, and it just makes it a lot clearer. There's probably an easier way to flip through these pages, but yeah, definitely check out my flip through videos if you're looking for more ideas, or if there's a certain book of the Bible that you want me to upload, I'll do that. Little whirlwind. I thought that was so cute. And for like the drawing, I've always been kind of artistic, but like sometimes if there's something I want to draw, I'm not good at like memory drawing, so I'll just look up like clip art and then I'll draw it into my Bible from like looking at the clip art. That makes it a lot easier because usually clip art's kind of like simple too. Yeah, I don't know if I got all the New Testament, if I didn't flip through that or not, but I'll try to. Hopefully this is somehow inspiring. I like to color coordinate like whatever I'm writing about with a highlighter. I really think that's just really quick and easy for me to reference right back to it. Sorry if you hear my kids. We homeschool. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're rambunctious right now. It's raining. Really can't do anything outside right now. But yeah, I hope that this helps, and leave me a comment. Let me know how you Bible journal, like what types of notes and things that you take, if there's something that I missed, or something you think could help me when I'm journaling. And I appreciate y'all. Bye.